Great morning, you guys. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in, you guys. Come on in. My God, it feels good to eat something. Y'all, come on in. I'm waiting on y'all. And we're going to go ahead and get started with today's word. Great morning. Great morning. Let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from. Good morning, Antoine. How are you? Good to see you. There is a God. And he knows my name. He loves me. Yes, he does, baby. Oh my God, he loves me so much. Y'all know it's been 3 days since I had coffee. Oh my God, I'm like, I want my coffee. Yes, Antoine from Raleigh, Georgia in the building. Hey, Jackie. Yeah, I know it is, Antoine. So I need you guys to share because I don't have my second device with me, so I can't share where I normally would share. So I need y'all to share for me. Hey, Corey. Hey, Christina. Great morning. Great morning. Hold on. So we finished the fast. Oh my God. Yes, like and share. My God. When I tell y'all, I've been waiting to be able to have some coffee, y'all. I've been, oh my goodness, I feel like all is right with the world now. My baby got up this morning early, bright and early, to prep for breakfast. He was going to make sure that we had something to eat. He fixed us a breakfast scramble. That's what I'm going to say about it. That's what I'm going to say about it. It's so good. Now, it could be that I'm hungry, but it's good. Now, I'm grateful for food. Thank you, Corey. My God. Y'all, listen. We were traveling on our way to my hometown for my mom's birthday. Great morning, April. Good to see you. And we stopped at this little gas station. Went in. They had some breakfast. They had a breakfast thing and some grits. Great morning, baby. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing, Jackie. And the woman said, let me tell you, I said, I want the breakfast scramble. Had eggs, potatoes, onions, peppers, stuff like that. Sausage, I think. And she said, let me tell you what's really good when you put the grits over it. And I'm like, for real? She was like, yeah, it's really good. You want to try it? I won't charge you for the grits. You want to try it? Baby, let me tell y'all something. That thing was fire. It was fire. But I believe Chef Boyard Timothy has surpassed it. I didn't tell him this earlier because his head to get big. So I had to measure it out. Okay. But it's good. The only thing that I think I would probably change is the plant-based meat. Not saying that I would have real meat in there, but I'm saying, I don't know, plant-based meat tastes chewy to me sometimes. I don't know. It could be just me. But something about it, there's something I'm just be like, yeah, go you. That's right. And then my baby fixed me some coffee. My God, today. Which is good because I'm going to need my strength for this word. Y'all know what that means. Yeah, it's one of them. My baby said, get ready, get ready, get ready. Hey, beautiful. How are you? So, listen. First, let me give you my praise report. I'm down to 211.6. Down to 211.6 from 222. Yeah, I just had to take a minute to celebrate. Okay. Now that I've celebrated, I'm ready for the rest of this journey. And it's not going to be, I'm not dieting, just changing my eating styles. When I eat what I eat, man, listen, I found this program, and when I tell you it resonates with my spirit, it really does. That combined with my new supplements, like I'm ready to go. Because what I realized was a lot of the things that I was doing was working against me. Like I believe in working out hard, right? I don't want to stop. I don't want to have to take breaks. And it really works against me because what it does is it increases my stress level and then it increases my level of cortisol. Cortisol does not work for me. It works against me. All right. So it begins to slow down and shut down my metabolism. So when I'm in high stress situations, my metabolism begins to slow down and shut down. And I need it to be up. So when I work out, they say, take plenty of rest. I said, what? Yeah, take plenty of rest. Y'all know that's counter to what we're told, right? Take a slow walk. Y'all know I power walk. Angel number 122. So what I realized, and this ties into the message today, is that a lot of the things that I thought were helping me were really hurting me. A lot of the things that I thought were helping me were really hurting me for my hormone type, for the way my metabolism is set up, for me being in the stage that I'm in. Go hard, it's not good, right? Right, babe, for me, it's not for me. I can't say for every hormone type or body type, but for me, at this stage of my life, it's not good. It works against me. So today, we're talking about it's time to heal the cut. It's time to heal the cut. Stop the bleeding. It's time to stop the bleeding. It's time to stop the bleeding. So in the Bible, there's a story of a woman with the issue of blood. This woman had been bleeding for years. She'd gone to all the doctors. She had tried everything that she could try, and she was ready to give up. She was constantly bleeding nonstop every day, which meant that she was unclean and should not be in the temple, should not be around people. She was supposed to be in her house, blocked off. So she goes to the temple because she hears Jesus is there. And She says, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I know that I'll be made whole. She knew that if she could get to Jesus, if she could just touch his hem, that the bleeding would stop. She knew, if I can just get to Jesus, the bleeding will stop. You all listen. God wants to stop the bleeding, but he can't stop the bleeding if you, one, don't acknowledge that you're bleeding, two, don't go to him, and three, don't believe. You have to know that you're bleeding. You have to believe that going to him will stop it. And you have to, what was the third one? Come on, y'all, help me. Know that you're bleeding, because I did them out of order. Know that you're bleeding. Go to him, and then believe that it's going to stop the bleeding, right? Those three things. So what happens is we experience things in our life, and it cuts. It cuts our heart, it cuts our mind, it cuts our spirit, it cuts our emotions, it cuts. The cut leads to bleeding. Now, we don't realize necessarily that we're bleeding, but we're bleeding. We say we're good. We say we're fine. We say, y'all know what we say. Listen, I was the queen of it. For so many years, I was bleeding and would not acknowledge that I was bleeding. Now, the only thing worse than bleeding every day for an extended period of time is bleeding every day for an extended period of time and not realizing or recognizing that you're bleeding. In one instance, you know why you're weak. You know what's going on. In the other instance, it's going on, but you are not recognizing it. You are not paying attention to it. And the thing about bleeding is, if you're bleeding, you're going to bleed on others. Yep. You're going to bleed on others. Not even knowing that you're bleeding on them, but you are. So, as I woke up this morning, first of all, we were up a lot. We woke up at like 1. I think my baby was up at 12 something. I woke up about 1, was woke till about 5, 4, till about 4, and then finally went back to sleep and woke up again at like 5 something. But in the midst of that, in that shift between 4 and 5 something, I had a dream. And I'm going to share my dream with you, and I'm going to share with you what the dream said to me. So I had a dream. And in the dream, I was going to the university. I had been at the university, I'd gotten mail and stuff, and I'd left. And so it was the end of the term, and I was going back the last day. We didn't necessarily have class, but I thought I was supposed to go in, right? So I go in, and I'm driving the little, like, not a moped, but like a motorbike, but it's one of the ones, y'all know what I'm talking about. One of the ones with the thing at the bottom, the base, like a scooter light. So I'm driving that. And I'm got my headphones on, my Bluetooth on. Yeah, Trish, a scooter. Yeah. And I got my Bluetooth on, and I'm on the phone, and I'm talking to April and Mike. I don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about something. And I looked down, and I was like, oh, man. Well, first of all, I'm running out of gas. I'm on the scooter. I'm almost there, but I'm running out of gas, right? And I realized I'm running out of gas because it slows down. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm running out of gas. Listen, I'm going to have to get some gas. I said, well, okay, it's a Circle K. It's a Circle K across the street. So I'm just going to go on and grab my mail, and then I'll go to Circle K and get some gas, and I'll, go home from there. So I get there, and I'm getting ready to park. There's lots of spaces to park. And so I'm getting ready to park in front of the building. And I look down, and I realize the key is not in there, but it's on. Which means it's just going to run. I have no way of turning it off. And if I had turned it off, found a way to turn it off, I wouldn't have a way to turn it back on because I didn't have the key. So the scooter is running, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? Okay, let me see. If I just run in real quick, I should be okay. So I run in real quick, and I say, hey, you know, do you have mail? I said, is the mail for the faculty still back there? And they were like, well, wait a minute. And so she goes and she talks to a woman, and I said, I'm faculty. And she said, oh, Professor Johnson. Okay. Yeah, I got some stuff for you. And she's giving me some stuff. Now, in the stuff that she's giving me is a Goddess Gems box of jewelry. She had a box also. She said, this is ours, but that's yours, right? And I had some mail. So I get the mail and I realize I didn't bring anything to put the mail in. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to put it in. I'm getting this plastic bag, right? This plastic bag, like a trash bag. And I'm going to put it in there. But as I'm trying to separate the bag from the other bags, it gets really thin. Yes, girl. Yes, the gems was in my dream. That means I got a box on the way. Coming soon, right? So the bag was really thin. You know how when you're pulling stuff apart and it gets really thin, so it doesn't break, but it's got those thin spots where it looks like it could break at any moment. It was like that. But I put the stuff in it and I go back outside, and there's a couple of men that are sitting out there, and I'm like, okay, good. Well, that's good because won't nobody take the scooter. I go outside. The man is standing away. The scooter's gone. But somebody pulled up on another scooter, and I'm looking, trying to see, well, is this the scooter? But it's got keys in it, so I know it's not. But he left his keys in the scooter, right? So I'm like, okay, somebody done took the scooter that fast. So I look off to my left, and to the left, I see some apartments, okay? It's a field. It's like kids playing. It's a lot of people outside. And I said, well, let me just go over here and see if anybody saw somebody with the scooter. So I'm going over there, and I'm walking up, and everybody looking at me. And I look, and there's an older woman and another woman. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, did you see somebody with the scooter? And she said, yeah, I saw somebody with the scooter. He went over there in that building. I was like, okay. She said, and I think he's in apartment 17. And this might be a good time for you to go over there because I think him and this girl done fell out. So she's not real happy with him right now. And I'm like, okay. So the lady and I are walking towards the building. And as we get closer, you know, she's talking to me, and she tells me her name. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and I tell her my name. And we step up on the steps. By the third step, by the time she stepped up on about the third step, she says, I don't know what happened to you 4 years ago, but I said, okay, prophet, you better prophesy, prophet. Prophesy to the prophet. And she starts laughing. And she looks at me, and she said, yeah, you know, I don't really do this. I said, baby, that's what happens when I show up, honey. When I show up, the prophet comes out. And I tell her, I said, this is why I almost ran out of gas, why I didn't have the key, why I had to leave it outside, why somebody had to take it, so that I could meet you, so that I could connect with you, so that you could prophesy to me, you know? So she looked and she smiled, and she's going up the steps. And then my baby moved or something. I don't know. Something happened. And I like kind of woke up, but not all the way woke up. But I woke up enough to come out of the dream. But then it was like I was almost back in the dream, and I could see flashes of her life. I could see her and her daughter. I could see her being in the delivery room when her daughter had the baby, and her holding the baby and looking at the baby. I see her and her daughter arguing. I see her when she was younger. Like, I see all of these scenes from her life. And I'm trying to get back to the dream so I can tell her what I saw, but I couldn't get back to the dream. Now, there's two reasons I'm telling y'all that dream. One is I needed to say it out loud so that and have it documented so that I wouldn't lose it, right? And two, I believe that dream is for somebody. Hold on, y'all. Let me turn on this fan. I believe that there's somebody on this line who is a prophet but doesn't prophesy. You're the key. Notice I was missing the key, right? You're the key to some people who are running out of gas. Babe! These flies done came in here. I'm finna have a fit. You're the key to somebody that's running out of gas. Somebody that's had things taken from them. But you won't get in position. This is not the time to not do what God says. Say what God says. Go where God says. Do it the way God says do it. Because you're somebody's key. And because you're not doing what you need to do, they're still bleeding. And you're still bleeding. You see, sometimes it's the fact that we're bleeding that prevents us from doing what God says, because we feel like we're unclean. Like we should not be in certain spaces or do certain things, or we're not worthy. Well, the truth of the matter is it's not your actions that make you worthy. It is God who makes you worthy. The moment that he created you, when he thought about you, when you were just a sperm in your daddy and an egg in your mama, God already knew you. And that's what makes you worthy, is you're his and you're made in his image. You're worthy. So stop discounting yourself, because you discounting yourself inhibits other people from the healing that they desire and that they need. In my dream, the woman said, I don't know what happened to you 4 years ago, but 4 years ago for me would be 2019. So now I have to go back and look and see what happened in 2019. What happened? Nothing immediately comes to mind, but there's some significance in that. Angel number 122. And this is what I know. Our bleeding being cut off and our bleeding stopping is contingent upon connection and relationship. You'll notice that when I was coming in on the scooter, I was on the phone and I was talking to April and Mike. Now, I don't know what all we were talking about, but we were talking about something. And that's when I realized I was running out of gas. And I wasn't just running out of gas on a flat surface. Like I was running out of gas and I had to go up a hill. And they were like, you got it. You know, you can do it. You can get up the hill. Like if you just get up the hill, then, you know, you'll be okay. And it kept sputtering. And I was barely getting up the hill, but I was getting up the hill. So I had to keep going and keep going. And I was like, oh my God, this don't make no sense. I can't believe I didn't pay attention to the gas. I should have got some gas. But I made it. Then my next realization as I was talking to them was that there was no key in the scooter. Like, how am I driving the scooter and it ain't no key? Where's the key? Where did I leave the key? How did the key even get out of the scooter? Some of us about to run out of gas and don't even have a key. Riding in a vehicle with no key. Trying to just make it. Trying to figure out how to navigate a seemingly impossible situation. But this is the good news. In everything that happened in the dream, April talking about you were the key. I don't know if I was the key or the lady was the key. I don't know which one of us was the key, because there was some reciprocity going on, right? I received that, April. So y'all listen. It's time to stop the bleeding. And the first step to stopping the bleeding is recognizing that you are bleeding. I know you're tired. You're ready to quit. You're ready to give up. You're out of fuel. You don't feel like you got the key. The key is missing. But the key is always inside of you. You just got to find it. You got to find it. You got to tap into it. You got to plug into it. And the beautiful thing is this. The woman was helping me to get my scooter back. But because she was willing to help me get my scooter back, God used her to bless me and then used me to bless her. The bleeding stopping requires connection and relationship. You can't do it on your own, all by yourself. There's always someone that's connected to it. With the woman with the issue of blood, it was Jesus and get into the hem of his garment, right? And in this instance, the solution, the answer was the woman helping me and then prophesying to me and then me prophesying to her. God said he's unlocking some things. Oh my God, here we go. God said he's unlocking some things, some gifts that he's held up because he wanted to make sure that you were ready for them and that you were going to use them and use them in the right way. How you use it, your intent in using it matters, right? I believe that when I saw the glimpses of the woman's life, because this is the thing about me, when I prophesy, I don't necessarily see. I just know. I don't necessarily get images. I just know. I have a knowing. So for me to see these things from her life, like see her when she was younger, see her in the delivery room with her daughter, see her and her daughter, fall out, right? The relationship break. I saw it. I saw it. It was like seeing snippets of a movie. I saw it. See, as God is unlocking, Jackie said, I've always told you that you are the him. You have, Jackie. You have. You've always said that. You've always said, I feel like the woman with the issue of blood, I feel like just getting to you, if I could get to you and touch the hem, that I would be all right. Jackie has always said that. That's her analogy for our relationship. When you understand what's going on. Now, what I realized was I didn't do a prophetic word for the month of May, I don't think. Angel number 133. But what God told me about the month of May, Mike said yesterday God was dealing with me about seeing. Wow. And you were in my dream, Mike. I was on the phone talking to you in April. I was on the phone talking to you and April. Thank you, Charla. Charla. I need to say your name right. So what God showed me about the month of May is the month of May I. He used the analogy of Mother May I, except it's Father May I, Daddy May I, Abba May I. You know what I'm saying? Jehovah May I. Whatever name you call God. God May I, right? But it's very much parental in permission giving, right? That there will be things that will come for you to do. And there'll be things that will come for you to do. And you need to ask God, do you want me to do that? Do you want me to do that? God, do you want me to do this? Because what's happening is we're doing a lot of stuff that's good stuff, but not God stuff. And I'm not saying that God is not in it, but it's not something that God has ordained for us specifically to do. So we're using all of our energy up doing good stuff when he needs us to do God stuff, because that's where the breakthrough is. Angel number 144. The God stuff is what gets you the breakthrough. The God stuff is what gets you solutions. The God stuff is what gets you to the other side. That's the God stuff. So you'll do this other stuff, right? But you won't do the God stuff. Listen to me. I need y'all to hear me clearly. Yesterday, I had to do something that was uncomfortable for me and I didn't want to do. So check this out. I told you all yesterday, God told me to do the Destiny Driven Masterclass today, right? Do the class today. And I'm saying, but God, I could do it Saturday. People get paid Friday. I can just do it Saturday. That's not what I told you. Do it Thursday. Do it tomorrow. And I'm like, no, God. Now listen, mind you, I'm thinking that my Noble Sabotage Supercharge that we moved this week was yesterday. Well, yesterday when it was time for it to happen and I'm reaching out to them, they're like, no, it's tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. So I got to reschedule it. I'm like, y'all, I thought it was, let's get it right on the phone. Let's talk about when we're going to reschedule it for. But I knew that they already had set their schedule up to do it tomorrow. And that's challenging when you've already set your schedule. We tried to find another day this week. It just wasn't working. It was frustrating. And so we said, okay, we'll do it Monday and just add another week. Let me tell you why it was hard. I struggle with disappointing people or not delivering when I say I'm going to deliver. I struggle with that. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. So that was difficult for me. Not to mention, I don't like disappointing people. I don't like disappointing people. So I know that they were disappointed. So it was challenging. But God said what he said. And so in my life, I've had to learn to go with God, what God is saying, because there's always a reason that he's saying what he's saying. I don't know all of why God said, do the class today, but I know he said, do another class, because I wasn't doing another class. I was not doing another class. The next thing I did with Destiny Driven was going to be the A Journey to Greatness 12-week program. Destiny Driven, A Journey to Greatness 12-week program. But that God said, do it today. So for those of you who haven't taken that class, who want to take the class, put Destiny Driven in the comments and I'll get you the information for it. It's $50. Afterpay is available. You can make 4 payments of $12.50 when approved by Afterpay. So why am I telling you all this? One of the things that God has been showing me is these keys that unlock different stuff, right? And as we've been on this journey, God will give me instructions. And as I follow the instructions, it'll unlock something. I remember we were in Nashville for the vision retreat last December. And I remember April telling me, we were in the car. She said, Dr. V, every time you do something that you don't want to do, God is going to bless you. Every time. Every time you do something that you don't want to do, God is going to bless you. She said, I don't know what all of it is, but God is going to bless you. I know that clearly. He said he's going to bless you every time you do something that you don't want to do, right? So this fast, this 3-day water fast, it's not necessarily something that I really wanted to do, but it was something I knew I had to do. So how did he bless me? So he blessed me by allowing me to lose 11 pounds while I was fasting. Right, Ebony. Right. We were in the car. Like, she said it clear as day. She said it, right? I lost 11 pounds in 3 days, y'all. What? Now, I know people will say, oh, that's water weight. Well, it's water I needed to get out of me then, okay? Whatever it is, those 11 pounds are gone, and I get the opportunity to start from where I am in crafting a new lifestyle. Kareen said, I've had a dream of keys too, but I had no idea what was meant by it. I thought they were the keys of the kingdom. Well, so let me share this with you, because we don't understand. We're often not taught about the keys to the kingdom, right? But literally when Jesus said, the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven is at hand, right? Which means that all you have to do is reach out and grab it. There are kingdom keys. Kingdom keys help you to tap into the kingdom. When we're talking about being destiny driven, you're being given kingdom keys, because your destiny is kingdom. Your destiny is kingdom. So when you understand that, then you start doing what you need to do to get the keys to unlock your destiny. The biggest key, listen to me, the biggest key in getting to your destiny and tapping into the kingdom is, can anybody tell me what it is? What's the biggest key? What's the biggest key? Somebody put it in the comments. What's the biggest key? Absolutely, Summerlin. Obedience. Yes, baby. Obedience. Angel number 144. Yes, Mike. Obedience. You see, obedience is key, because if you will be obedient, God knows he can trust you. See, he's looking for people who will be obedient. See, being obedient isn't doing it when you want to. It's doing it even when you don't want to. It's doing stuff you don't want to do. It's doing stuff you say, oh, I'm not doing that, right? It's all of that. So when you understand that, when you understand that obedience is key to unlocking your destiny, to unlocking your future, to unlocking your mate, to unlocking all the things, wealth, like all of the things that you desire, obedience is key. The word of God says what? Obedience is better than sacrifice. And for many of us, what we've done is we spend our life sacrificing, calling it obedience. Kareem said, accepting Jesus as Lord and Savior. That's not the biggest key. That's not the biggest key. It's not. I know the church says, well, unless you, but that's not the biggest key. Because guess what? There are a lot of people, angel number 144, who have accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior. They're still in the same place. That's not the biggest key. It's the obedience. Because the obedience will lead you to the place where you really give your life to God. I don't know about you, and I don't know about your experience with Christ, or I don't know anything about that. But I know for me, even that decision was one of obedience. It was obedience. It was obedience. Like I heard a voice talking to me. It was obedience. You all, this is what we've got to understand. While we bleeding out, other people are dying. While we're bleeding out, other people are dying. Because we won't stop the bleeding. And to stop the bleeding, we have to first of all acknowledge that we're bleeding. What is bleeding? It means that you're cut. It means that you're injured. We want to be so tough. Act like nothing bothers us. I said we. Act like we're good. We got it all together. Whole time. There are places where we're bleeding. And God wants to heal us. He wants to stop the bleeding. But we first have to realize we're bleeding and go to him. So what does he do? He will wake up something that allows the blood to flow. And you're like, oh, wait, I'm bleeding. Wait, blood is getting all over me. It's all on my stuff. But guess what the beauty is? The blood still works. It's still powerful. Now, we're talking about you bleeding. But sometimes your bleeding is symbolic of the blood that was shed. Because, listen, when there is sin, there must be a blood sacrifice. What does that sound like, y'all? Fortunately for us, Jesus paid the ultimate price. Woo, God. Corey said, or got blood clots that need to be broke up. Come on now. My baby said, I ran for a while. Absolutely. So, from the time of the initial sin, the introduction of sin in the garden, there was the need for the shedding of blood to cover sin. Remember, Adam and Eve were hiding and they had put some leaves together to cover themselves. And once they had that encounter with God and God said what he said, this is what it is. You're going to have to toil in the soil, to live. And woman, you're going to have pains of childbirth, and you and the serpent will be at enmity with one another. Your children will be at enmity with one another, but you will crush the enemy's head with your heel, which means the enemy is under our foot. But it also said you will, your desire will be to the man, and you'll want to control him, but you will not be able to. Don't we have that now? Okay. So he killed an animal and made them clothes. That was the first blood sacrifice. But throughout the Bible in the Old Testament, you'll hear them talk about sacrifice. Listen, baby, this ties into what we talked about this morning. So this morning, we were reading the Bible together because we was up. We was just both like up. So we were reading the Bible. And my baby took us to Malachi 1. And it was talking about the sacrifices. And it was talking about the priests bringing these subpar sacrifices. How God was mad, right? The beginning of the chapter talks about his love for Jacob, right? We know Jacob was a trickster, but God loved him. See, this is why people in the church who talk like only the most righteous people will God use. I don't know what Bible they reading, because I ain't seen God using them people like that. I seen God using the people that had issues. They had skeletons. They had challenges. They went left when they were supposed to go right. I saw him using those kind of people. Jacob was one of them. Jacob stole his brother's birthright. Him and his mama, as we approach upon Mother's Day, him and his mama stole his brother, who was the firstborn's birthright. Now, the brother gave it away, but then he stole the blessing. He had the birthright, but then he also got the blessing. They're two different things. So God was talking about how much he loved Jacob and hated Esau. And then he goes into the priest and how the priest we're bringing him subpar sacrifices. You bringing me sick stuff, disease stuff, and I'm supposed to be happy about that? No, I'm not happy about it. And you need to stop it. And they're like, well, how? Listen, Corey talking about this is how I know I'm out of shape. Adam and Eve used leaves. I need the whole tree and a bush for the shame I digress. Girl, you a mess. But, God is like, and Malachi is a book where God is just checking them. Like he's checking them. But he's checking them and he checks them with promise. Check them with promise. Even when we get to Malachi 3. Listen, there's a promise associated with the obedience, but it's all about obedience. Malachi is a book about obedience to God. And so in chapter 1, he talks about, y'all, I'm supposed to be happy about this. I'm supposed to be good with you bringing me some subpar disease animals. No, I'm not. I'm not happy about it. And you need to be ashamed of yourself. And it's not that you don't have good stuff. You got the good stuff, but you want to bring me the disease stuff. God, this is for you. I love you so much. Here's this diseased animal. But you got a good one. You got one that's clean, that's pure. Angel number 144. So why are you bringing me this? Like I'm supposed to be grateful for it. Look, you want to stop the bleeding? Because it's time to. The way you stop the bleeding is for being obedient to God. For being obedient. It may not make sense to you. It may look crazy, seem crazy, and feel crazy. But be obedient no matter what. Just be obedient. And watch what God does with your obedience. What I've discovered is the key to me being where I am in my life right now is my obedience. I don't get everything right. I don't. But when it comes to God, I be like on that obedient tip. Don't mean I do everything he say, right? Because there's some things I be like, God, I don't know about that. Now, you asking for a lot right there. I don't know if I can do that. But even if I kick and scream, for the most part, I'm going to be obedient. That's what God is looking for, your obedience. You want to get to your destiny? Start with being obedient. God has laid out everything that you need to get to your destiny. The question is, will you take it? The question is, will you do what you need to do? The question is, will you do your part? Like, that's the question. That's the $1 million question. If I give you the blueprint, will you use it? If I give you a space and people to support you as you take the journey to your destiny, will you access it? Will you do that? Or will you sit back and say, oh, I got the information. I'm going to use it one day. My baby said compliance without complaining. And that's good. Sometimes I might complain, though. I ain't gonna lie. I might complain. He still wants my compliance. It doesn't matter. You complain. Okay, complain. But at the end of the day, I'm going to need you to do what I told you. I don't want to do it. It's so funny, like, watching me and God, like, how we operate. Like, yesterday, I'm trying to say one thing, and I got to just stop because we having a whole conversation. So y'all know, anytime I stop, and I'm just looking off, or I'm just still and quiet, that's me and God having a conversation. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to say what he said, do what he said, something. I'm trying to. I don't do that. That don't make sense. He specializes in it doesn't make sense. Amen. It's not me. It's not me. Yeah, look. This is what I want y'all to know. Right. Trying to compromise with the father. Absolutely, Trish. Absolutely. Kareem said, I definitely feel crazy these days. I get it. But guess what? So did Abraham. Y'all think Abraham didn't feel crazy? God talking about, I'm sending you to a place that you don't know. Take your wife and your family and your servants and your animals and go to this place that I will show you. Ain't that what you're doing, Kareem? Ain't that what your life is? You're going to a place that he's going to show you. You're going to a place that he's sending you to. Angel number 144. And if he's sending you there, that means that he's gone ahead of you to prepare that place. Woo, isn't that what Jesus said? He said, I have to go so that I can prepare a place for you. How do we stop the bleeding? Be obedient. Be obedient. I don't know about you, but this fast reveals stuff to me about me. But I didn't necessarily want to see. He started before the fast. And yet, I had to be cleansed and things unveiled so that I could transform. Kareem said, and I don't like it. I'm getting it piece by piece. Exactly. But that's because you're one of those people that have to have everything laid out before you move. So he's got you on the piece by piece plan. The piece by piece plan is, I'm going to give you a piece, do what I tell you, and then I'll give you the next piece. Because if I give you the whole thing, then you're going to be overwhelmed and you're not going to do it. So I just need your obedience, because it's easier to be obedient to one step than to see the whole plan and be like, okay, I'm going to be obedient to all of this. Just be obedient to the piece and watch what God does. Our destiny is calling us. It's waiting for us. What you gonna do? Yes, baby. The more we do, the more he'll give. Absolutely. And you got to trust him with it. You can't make it move no faster. You can't make it move no faster than it moves, especially when it involves other people. Like, you got to let God do some stuff. You got to let God work some stuff out. You got to let God reveal some stuff, right? And trust that God will. He'll reveal whatever needs to be revealed. He'll deal with whatever needs to be dealt with. He'll do it. I promise you he will. God has a way of doing that. See, we think that we need to tell people everything that they need to do, but there's a problem in that, because if they do it, they're only doing it. They may only be doing it because it's what we want. That's one thing people don't have to worry about with me. I ain't doing nothing just because somebody wants it. I'm not. Not no more. Used to. Not no more. Not no more. I have to be led by my daddy. My daddy got to tell me stuff. Like, he'll let me know. Do this. Didn't I say do this? Or he'll say, don't do that. And if I do it, he'll be like, didn't I tell you not to do that? See, now you're going to have to deal with the consequences and repercussions. Because you were hard-headed. And I am hard-headed. I was. It's getting better. A little bit. A little bit. Trust is also key, babe. But how do you build trust? How do you do it? Some of us don't trust God because we don't trust our earthly fathers. So we don't trust God. Some of us don't trust God because we don't trust our mothers. It is hard to trust sometimes, babe, especially when our trust has been violated. You bring two people together whose trust has been violated. Oh, it's interesting. Just keep watching us, right? Both our trust has been violated, right? So sometimes we be looking at each other with a side eye. But God is building that trust. That's what's required. We want everything to be instantaneous, but everything is not instantaneous. There are things that you have to just go through to get to a place. I know there are people who are very close to me now, who work with me now. When I do a class now, they're in the class because they've come to trust me. They've come to trust that not only am I going to deliver, but what I deliver is going to be extremely impactful. It's because they did the first class and they were like, ooh, wow. Then they do the next class, they're like, wait, what? Then they do the next class, they're like, I thought the last one was the best thing that you could do, but this top stack, because it's not me. This is what people miss. Some people just put together programs and they just do the program because somebody said you need to put together a program. This is the program they put together. They put together. God puts every program that I do together. God does it. Like God literally does it. Like he'll tell me what to do. And I won't do anything until God speaks. And if God doesn't speak until right before that class, that's when I'm doing something. I trust God. I got to go with God. Can't go with me. Thank you, Trish. I appreciate that. Beautiful. I just am being obedient. Just being a humble servant to the Most High. That's it. That's it, y'all. And any of us can be that. Any of us. You may not do it exactly like I do it, but all of us have the capacity to be used by God. All of us. It's whether or not we will allow him to use us the way that he wants to, not the way that we dictate. Because that's the key. There's a way that he wants to use you. So I encourage you, to stop the bleeding, to be obedient, to examine the areas in your life where there may be bleeding and face them, deal with them so that you can heal. You can't be whole if you don't heal those wounds. It's interesting to me that in the Bible, there are times when Jesus would say, he would heal someone. And there were other times when he would say, your faith has made you whole. And there's a difference between healing something and being made whole. Being made whole is lacking nothing. Total, complete, lacking nothing. So there were people who were healed of something, but they may not have been whole. So wholeness is more than just the physical. Wholeness is a total thing. It's a total experience. So some of us have been healed of some things, but we still have some things left, some areas where we bleed. And we don't realize that the spot is tender until something touches it. And when something touches it, we feel it. Ugh, ouch. It's time to heal and get whole. Because what God has for you to do requires the whole you. You want destiny? The whole you is what will get you to destiny. So healing is an integral part of your destiny. You got to heal. Listen, I talk about some of these things in the Destiny Driven Masterclass. If you're not taking that class, I'm telling you, it is a step-by-step process of how to get to your destiny. Like literally the things to do, things to look at, how to identify gaps and how to close those gaps. And really it truly is a working model. Like you have to do work. You have to do work. But if you're willing to do the work, it is definitely worthwhile. If you want the outline, the blueprint, the roadmap, I give that to you in the Destiny Driven Masterclass. I give it to you in the Destiny Driven Masterclass. And after you get that, if you want to take that journey for real, we're doing it in 90 days, 90 days concerted effort, right? Now, you're not going to necessarily get to everything in your destiny, but you're going to close the gaps you need to close and give God permission to do what he desires to do. And he can do it as quickly or as slowly as he desires. But I believe that this is a season of breakthrough. And the breakthrough comes when we just say, Daddy, can I? So that he can get permission. We can get permission and he can give us permission for the rest of this journey. Like, I don't know, y'all. It's a lot of stuff getting ready to happen in May. I need you to get ready for it. Start by getting permission, not just doing anything, but doing things that God says do. So if God told you to take the master class, take the class. Just do it. Don't be hard-headed. Don't be stubborn. Don't be like, well, I don't have the money. Don't do that. Don't do that. Find it. Find it so that you can get what you need, so that you can go the rest of the way. That's what God wants. Aren't you tired of being stuck? I know I was. I was tired of being stuck, and God began to give me plan, strategy. And so the stuff that I'm telling you is the stuff that I've done. You know, it's the stuff that I've done. I'm still in process, but like I've done this. Like I literally, and if you've been watching me, when I give you the steps, you will see the stuff having happened in my life, and you'll see how my life began to change as different things happened. So if you want to do the Destiny Driven Masterclass, put Destiny Driven in the comments, and I'll send you the invoice. It's $50. Afterpay is available. What I need from you is your email address and your phone number. So inbox me with that. But put Destiny Driven in the comments. Put Destiny Driven in the comments, and I'll get to you. Listen, you guys, I love you with the love of the Lord. And if something that I've said has spoken to you, you feel compelled to bless me, you want to sow a seed, you want to put a seed in the ground, put a seed in the ground, put an assignment to the seed. Tell what that seed is for, right? What is it that you're desiring from God with this seed? The seed seals it, okay? So drop a seed and put assignment on the seed so the seed knows what it's supposed to do, right? Angel number 155. Listen, tonight is going down at 6 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. 5 p.m. Central. 3 p.m. on the West Coast, right? So the Destiny Driven Masterclass will start at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, and 3 p.m. on the West Coast. You guys, you're going to want to do it. You're going to want to be a part of it. Put Destiny Driven in the comments. Inbox me and let me know you're interested. God is up to something. God is up to something bigger than anything that you've seen so far. Let's get it. All right, you guys. I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Have an amazing, incredible, and epic day. And it's time to stop the bleeding. Stop it. Mwah.